Where are the brahmacharis? I think we lost them with this one. We lost them to even more dangerous than Maya is sugar. I think we lost them to sugar this morning. So we'll say an eulogy for the brahmacharis who were lost in the war against sugar. Yes, we lost them to organic cane sugar, which is probably worse, because they think they can eat more. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Suluke Bhaktirvavati Naistiki. This, for those who have a vision of how ecstatic it is to be sitting above everybody else, this is a very uncomfortable seat. Only followed by another asana much higher that I got at a festival in Ukraine when I was giving a seminar that had a 2x4 right in the middle of it. So it was extremely uncomfortable. It's hard not to think about the body when you're sitting like that. So don't waste your time trying to gain power, because there's only a hard seat waiting for you. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 4th canto. We started with the first chapter about the genealogical table of the daughters of Manu. And this is a lot of people, and we're going to hear about a lot of them, because it's basically the job of populating the universe, so you need a lot of people to do that. You can't just have, one person having 10,000 kids. So, the verse today is 31, yeah. Atasmadam sabhutaste Atmaja loka vishruta Bhavitaronga badramte Visrapsyanti chate yasa. I'm just gonna read the translation and the next, 18 verses or something like that until we find a purport. Translation and purports when appropriate by Srila Prabhupada. You will have sons who will represent a partial manifestation of our potency, and because we desire all good fortune for you, those sons will glorify your reputation throughout the world. Evam kamavaram datva pratijakmu sureshvara sabhajitas tayo samyak dampatyur mishatos tata. Thus, while the couple looked on, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, disappeared from that place after bestowing upon Atri Muni the benediction. Somo bhut brahmanum sena dato Vishnus tu yogavid durvasha shankara syamso Nibodan Girasa Praja. Thereafter, from a partial representation of Brahma, the moon god was born of them. From a partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya was born. And from a partial representation of Shankara, Lord Shiva, Durvasa was born. Now you may hear from me of the many sons of Angira. Shradatu Angira Supatni Chatrasro Sutta Kanyaka Sinivali Kuhuraka Chaturti Anumatistata. Angira's wife Radha gave birth to 4 daughters named Sinivali, Kuhu, Raka, and Anumati. Tat putro aparo astam kyato swaro chisen tare utatyu bhagavan sakshad brahmishtas cha brihaspati. Besides these 4 daughters, she also had another 2 sons. One of them was known as Uttatya, and the other was the learned scholar Brihaspati. Pulastyo janayat patnyam agastyam cha havirbhuvi sonya janmani taraknir vishravas cha matatapaha. Pulastya begot his wife Havirbhu, one son of the name Agastya, who in his next birth became Dharagni. Besides him, Pulastya begot another very great and saintly son whose name was Vishrava. Tasya yaksha patir deva kubirast tu idavida sutta ravana kumbhakarnascha pradanyasyam vivashana. Vishrava had 2 wives. The first wife was Idavida, from whom Kuvera, the master of all yakshas, was born, and the next wife was named Keshini, from whom 3 sons were born, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. Pulasya gatir bharya trina sutta sati sutan kamashestan varyam sam kamashestam varyam sam. Seems like the wrong meter. Sahishnum cha mahamate. Gati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to 3 sons named Kamashrestha, Varyan, and Sahishnu, and all of them were great sages. We found a purport, but it's too small. Gati, the wife of Pulaha, was the fifth daughter of Kardama Muni. She was very faithful to her husband, and all her sons were as good as he. Kratorapi kriya bharya Valakiyan Kilyana Suyata Rishin Shasti Sahasrani Jvalato Brahmatejasa. Kratu's wife Kriya gave birth to 60,000 great sages. There you go, a prolific one. Named the Valakilyas. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge. Purport: Kriya was the 6th daughter of Kardama Muni, and she produced 60,000 sages who were known as Valakilyas because they all retired from family life as Vanaprasthas. Urjayam Jakire Putra Vashishtaya Parantapa Chitraketu Pradanaste Sapta Brahmarsayo Mala. The great sage Vashishta, begotten his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati, 7 spotlessly great sages headed by the sage named Chitraketu. Chitraketu Surachischa Viraja Mitra Evacha Ulvano Vasubhrityano Tyuman Shakti Adayo Pare. The names of these 7 sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulvana, Vasubhrityana, and Dyuman. Some other very competent sons were born from Vashishta's other wife. Purport: Urja, who is sometimes known as Arundhati and was the wife of Vashishta, was the 9th daughter of Kardama Muni. Chitistu Atarvana Patni Lebe Putram Dritavratam Dadyancham Ashvashirasam Brigorvam Sam Nibodame. Chiti, wife of the sage Atarva, gave birth to a son named Ashvashira by accepting a great vow called Dadyancha. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Brigu. Purport: the wife of Atarva, known as Chiti, is also known as Shanti. She was the 8th daughter of Kardama Muni. Brigu Kyatyam Mahabhaga Patnyam Putram Ajijanat Dataram cha vidataram shriyam cha bhagavat param. The sage Brigu was highly fortunate. In his wife, known as Khyati, he begot 2 sons named Data and Vidata, and 1 daughter named Shri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ayatim niyatim chaiva sutemerus tayoradat tabyam tayorabhavatam mrikanda prana evacha The sage Meru had two daughters named Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Datta and Vidata. Ayati and Niyata gave birth to two sons, Mrikanda and Prana. Markandeya Mrikandasya Pranadveda Shiramuni Kavischa Bhargavo Yasya Bhagavanu Shana Sutta. From Mrikanda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana, the sage Vedashira, whose son was Ushrana Shukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus Kavi also belonged to the descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty. Ta ete munayak shatar lokan sargair abhavayan esha kardama dauhitra santana katitastava. My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the descriptions of his dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Tasyam sasarcha duhitri shodasama lalochana trayo dasadad dharmaya tataikam agnaye vibhu. Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus-like eyes in his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma, and one daughter was given to Agni. There's 4 verses together. I'll just go to the translation. One of the remaining 2 daughters was given in charity to the Pitriloka, where she resides very amicably, and the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Meda, Tiksha, Ri, and Murti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Shubha, Maitri produced Prasada, Daya gave birth to Abhaya, Shanti gave birth to Sukha, Tushti gave birth to Muda, Muda, M-U-D-A, not with an H. Pushti gave birth to Smaya, Kriya gave birth to Yoga, Unnati gave birth to Darpa, Buddhi gave birth to Artha, Meda gave birth to Smriti, Tiksha gave birth to Kshema, and Ri gave birth to Prashraya. Murti, a reservoir of all respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yayor Janmanyado Vishvam Abhyandanat Sunirritam Manam Sikakubovata Prasedu Saritodraya. On the occasion of the appearance of Narayan, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil, and thus, in all directions, the air, the rivers, and the mountains became pleasant. Divi avadyanta turyani petu kusuma vrishdaya munayas tushtuvus tushta jagur gandharva kinara nirtantisma striyo devya asit paramamangalam deva brahmadya sarve upastur abhivashtava abhishtavaya. In the heavenly planets, bands began to play, and they showered flowers from the sky. The pacified sages chanted Vedic prayers. The denizens of heaven, known as the Gandharvas and Kinnaras, sang. The beautiful damsels of the heavenly planets danced. And in this way, at the time of the appearance of Narayan, all signs of good fortune were visible. Just at that time, great demigods like Brahma also offered their respectful prayers. Devavuchu yo mayaya virachitam nijatma nidam kerupa vedam ivatat pratichakshanaya etena dharma sadhane rishi murtinadya pradushkara purushaya nama parasmai. Translation: The demigod said, "Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the transcendental personality of Godhead, who created at his external energy this cosmic manifestation, which is situated in him as the air and clouds are situated in space, and who has now appeared in the form of Narayan Rishi in the house of Dharma." Purport: The universal form of the Lord is a cosmic manifestation, which is an exhibition of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In space, there are innumerable varieties of planets and also the air. And in the air, there are various colored clouds, and sometimes we see airplanes running from one place to another. Thus, the entire cosmic manifestation is full of variety, but actually, that variety is a manifestation of the external energy of the Supreme Lord, and that energy is situated in Him. Now, the Lord Himself, after manifesting His energy, appeared within the creation of His energy, which is simultaneously one with and different from Himself. And therefore the demigods offer their respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who manifests Himself in such varieties. There are some philosophers called non-dualists, who because of their impersonal conception think that varieties are false. In this verse it is specifically stated, Yo Mayaya Virachitam. This indicates that the varieties are a manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, because the energy is non-different from the Godhead, the varieties are also factual. The material varieties may be temporary, but they are not false. They are a reflection of the spiritual varieties. Here the word pratikshanaya, there are varieties, announces the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appear as Nara Narayan Rishi, and who is the origin of all varieties of material nature. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarnam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavivyo Namo Namaha. So, even from a very beginning, there is austerity involved in every endeavor, because there is no possibility of getting anything accomplished unless there is some sacrifice, some work, something is done. Of course, when Lord Brahma was bewildered, surrounded, sitting on a lotus and surrounded by what seemed to be non-surfable waves of the ocean, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know who he was, where he was, and didn't know what to do. So he heard the word tapas. Well, actually, it was interesting to notice that, if you say this word repeatedly, tapas, 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 it means that nothing begins without good Italian food. But this is my conclusion. It may not be shastric. So Lord Brahma decided to practice austerities because that was the only way to figure out knowledge. All knowledge. And knowledge means knowledge of who you are, knowledge of what you're supposed to do. Let's say you wake up one day and you happen to be in a tennis court. All you remember is that you went to sleep in your bed. And then you're in a tennis court, you're wearing, a white outfit, shorts, Lacoste shirt and a Wilson racket, and you have a ball in the other hand, and there is another player on the other side of the net, and there are bleachers, and there are people watching, and there is an umpire, and there are drinks being served. So, what would be your reaction? Would you just get up and serve? Will that be your inclination? Or you will try to figure out, how in the world did I end up here? All I remember is I went to sleep in my bed last night, and I don't even play tennis. How did this happen? Well, this is the plight of all living entities. All of a sudden, they wake up in a place that is totally foreign to them. But, you may get used to it, but it's definitely foreign to you. You end up with a particular set of parents, and siblings and relatives. And who are these people? Who brought him here? Where am I? What am I doing here? What am I supposed to do? So maybe when you're young, you don't think much about it, but once you kind of get a little brain juice flowing, then you should ask these questions. Where am I? Where am I going? Why do I have to die? Why is there suffering? Why do I have this body and this level of intelligence and this level of financial comfort and whatever it is? You ask all those questions and you should supposed to solve them, not ignore them and go shopping. This is not the way to act. So we are in the material world, we are lost in space, literally. And is in space because this planet is floating around in some vast space. And how did we end up here? I don't remember choosing this neighborhood. What is it? The middle planets? Yeah, I thought I could do better than that. But here I am. So we have to figure out what's the purpose in life. And once you figure out that this is not your real home, how do you get out of here? Unscathed. Because everybody has to die. So how do I transcend? Here is the opposite is happening. The universe is being populated. Just they're bringing people in instead of getting people out of here. So this is the beginning. The universes are manifested, and they're Sarvagata, there is life everywhere. So it's not like, there is life here and there is life nowhere else. We are number one. We are the only ones around, and everybody else and everything else is meant to serve us, serve our selfish purposes. We are just a cog in a tremendously large wheel that is continuously turning, and there is time. We were talking about time, and time is, as Krishna says, Kalosmi Bharatar Shava. I'm time, Krishna admits, in the material world. He's represented also not just by the holy name and by the sages and etc. He's represented by time. And what does he do? He kills everybody. That's the function of time. Just destroys everything. And you know that. There's so many examples of this. I remember I had to attend a wedding of the son of a devotee friend of mine. And so I bought shoes for that purpose, because you can't go to a wedding wearing Birkenstocks. That is not well seen as elegant and polite. So I bought these shoes, vegan leather and rubber sole. What's the brand? Timberland. They were good brand, comfortable. And I didn't use those shoes again for quite a long time. And then I had another wedding to go to. And when I pulled them out of a box, they were gone. Time just smashed them to smithereens. The soul was just disintegrated. It was like crumble. It's just time, I guess. A long time went by, maybe 10, 15 years. I guess if you have to take care of things. You have to maintain things. Just like Lord Vishnu, he maintains this universe. And if without maintenance, there is no fun at all. Everything goes to waste because time destroys, and that's what Krishna is doing. Now all these people are just coming in, and the sages like Brihaspati and Brigu and Pulastya and Agastya, all these famous sages, and even the Supreme Person as Narayan, he comes. And this is their mercy, because if you don't do a good mix with sages and saintly women, it's a mess. We see that. We see that when you will have a village somewhere in Eastern Europe or somewhere where people marry each other. They marry among cousins and so on. They turn out really bad. They have very little learning ability, and the speech pattern is bad. Just inbreeding. That's what happened, and we have it in this country too. So you have to cultivate the best. You have to mix them well. That's why the daughters of some of the progenitors were given in charity to great sages. So there's a good combination. So good kids come out, and it's not like just animal attraction. That won't do. That you see, I like her because she wears her hair beautifully, or I like him because he's so handsome and he has a deep voice, or this stuff is really secondary or not very important. What about the ideal? This animal attraction doesn't even produce good progeny. Sometimes you see, really smart, good-looking, wealthy people, and their children are just awful. That they're just ugly to look at and stupid, and they can't learn anything. So this is science. You have to combine them properly. But nowadays, we're going through Kali Yuga, and in Kali Yuga things are bad. They're really bad, and they're going to get worse. They're going to get worse. If you want to check out, the final stages, read the 12th canto, and you will see the symptoms of Kali Yuga. Eventually, and this is in the Bhagavatam, people will have children to have food. Not a bad way to keep the pantry full. Just have a kid and take him limb by limb until just have another when you get hungry again. It's awful. This is Kali Yuga. We are not in a good time. This is not only a bad neighborhood. Not only we just took the wrong turn at the Viraja River. We went south. We should have gone north. But we have to actually realize that it's the wrong place and it's full of the wrong people. So we have to, I guess it's funny, you may say that. So we have to get out. We have to do, Prabhupada said, do the best business you can with a bad bargain. Because we thought we were smart and we tried to cut corners, and there we are. And we are stuck with ourselves. We may fake it all the way and make other people imagine that we have a fantastic life and our mind is as tranquil as a pristine lake in Finland. But no. Actually, we have to struggle with the mind and the senses, just like the next person. But there is a silver lining. I'm accused of being a pessimist, but I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. I think I point things out as I see them because they're very clearly negative. This world is a place where you're not supposed to hang around. Don't get attached. This is not a good place. Like if you go to let's say you join the knitters of Denver, you want to do you like to knit, and then you meet with people, and these people are horrible, and they're spending it all the time knitting, but meanwhile, their tongue is flapping insults at each other. This is not a good group to be here. So even if you are in a material world and you think, but there are some nice people and good-hearted, well, help them out, because it's not going to be any help if they don't find how to become Krishna conscious. This is the when we were asking, who am I? What am I doing here? What am I supposed to do? The answers are very clear. They're given by the Bhagavatam. You're supposed to get out of this world. You're supposed to realize that you are a spiritual soul. Das anudas. You're not even a servant. You're servant of the servant of the servant. Matter of fact, you could not be a servant of Krishna, even if you tried. Because all those posts are taken. All the layers, many times removed. Yasoda is serving Krishna, Radharani is serving Krishna. Lalita and Vishaka are serving Radharani. And there are manjaris that are serving them. And there are others supporting them. So, servant of the 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 servant, etc., is all taken. You don't have a spot there. But you can be a servant of the servant of the servant, to the nth potency. And that's a very, very safe position to take. And there are blessings all along the Bhagavatam. Once I had, I'll end with this. Once I was invited at Florida State University at a religion class to speak about the Dasavatar. So, I was thinking, how am I going to do this? Because this is a bunch of skeptical students just learning about some Hindu mythology, or they will take it as some fantasy, some sci-fi from the past, from some weird scripture. And the professor probably won't help, because the professors, she was very favorable, but not a devotee. So what am I gonna say? And this class was basically 2 hours, like 2 blocks of 45 minutes divided by a 15-minute break. So I was supposed to speak for the first block and then say goodbye, and then she will continue, after the break, she will continue speaking to the class. So what I did is I went right to the Bhagavatam. I knew the pastimes pretty much, but I went to the Bhagavatam and I looked at every incarnation of the Dasavatar. And what struck me is that at the end of every description, there is a blessing. Like there was a blessing a few verses ago, saying anybody who listens to this genealogical table with faith will be delivered, will get benedictions. So at the end of every description of any of the avatars, Matsya, Varaha, Kurma, etc., there were benedictions, there were blessings, galore. Anyone who listens to this with faith or devotion or with attention even will be promoted to the spiritual world, will be, not suffer in this life nor the next, etc., etc. So I thought, well, I'll do that. I'll just tell the pastime and let the blessings take place. Let the blessings count. So I started, of course, I had them fresh in my mind. I was younger too. And I started telling the pastimes with full detail. But I had to preface my little talk by saying what I'm going to say are the pastimes of a Supreme Person. Now, if you happen to be God, then you have no limits. So you can do anything you want. And you don't have a real job. You just enjoy. So it's like when you're a kid and you're playing cowboys and Native Americans. You say that now? Cowboys and Native Americans. And your mom calls you for lunch, and you're in a different world. You can't even hear your mom. Your mom is like sound, some faint soundtrack. You don't want to stop playing. You don't. So this is God's life. He's always having fun playing, cowboys and Native Americans. He's having fun. And if you imagine, if God has nothing else to do but enjoy, then he will, and he has unlimited power, he will create these situations that are inconceivable to anybody unless you're a devotee. And then you say, it's wonderful, it's amazing. Amazing. Like Matsya. He had to save the Vedas. And he could have just grab the Vedas and put them in a safe somewhere. But no, he decided, I feel like swimming. So he chose to appear as a fish. And where are the best waves? The ocean of devastation, of course. When everything collapses and the waves are, thousands of miles high. So he appeared in a form that expanded to 8 million miles. Now, if you're going to show up as, as a surfer, show up as a fish, because they're the best at this thing. So he just enjoyed carrying the Vedas and swimming in the ocean of devastation, just surfing in some waves. Or Kurma, who, appears a turtle and accomplished so many things at the same time. So he served as a pivot for Mandara Mountain. The demigods and the demons were churning the ocean to get some nectar. And as the mountain was spinning at a great speed, Kurma had some jewels, because it's not a regular turtle, it's a jewel tortoise, and just lifted the paws to polish the jewels, what the mountain was turning at a tremendous speed. It was a little tarnished, so he just took advantage. So this is the personality of God, and this is the pastimes that I was telling. So I told the students, listen, you have to suspend your disbelief, because if this is God that we are talking about, he can do anything. So you don't have to. You have to worry about, is it credible or not? If it's God, yeah, sure, it could happen and it will happen. So I told every pastime, and I was extending them because, they were so interesting and I had them fresh in my memory. So eventually, the bell rang, and I was just barely halfway through. So I said, okay. And the students, I could see them. They were like, their mouth was open, gaping open, and they were fascinated by Krishna's pastimes. Not by me, but by Krishna. And the professor said, no, we are not going anywhere. You keep going. So we went through the break, and I was 2/3 of the way through, and so I stopped now. No. And the students, no. So I went all through the, nearly 2 hours. And then I finished with Kalki, Avatar. I told him, when he comes, what's the situation when he comes? That is at the end of Kali Yuga, where people are very, very short, and they're literally, there are no humans left. There are a few sages hiding somewhere, but there's all subhumans trying to kill each other and living under the earth because the sun is scorching the entire earth. There's nothing to eat, etc., etc. And so he comes and chops heads off because that's all there is to do. There's nothing else to do. It's not like he's coming to play with some friends. It's just that's what he does. Does his duty. So that's it. That's the end. Das Avatar, 10 incarnations. Hope you like it. Any questions? And they were completely silent. It's like I could tell, I took their minds and put them at Krishna's feet, in the different pastimes. So they were completely fascinated and they couldn't speak. And the teacher said, I guess that's it. We are so sad, it's over. And so I left. And then that evening she called me And I said, so how did it go? She said, it was amazing. I'd never seen my students like that. Completely quiet, totally attentive, and so absorbed. And were there were any comments or questions after I left? And she said, well, only a couple. And they said, does he, referring to me, does he believe all that? Literally. And I said, well, those guys or girls didn't get it. I said, if this is God, this is what would happen. Yes, obviously it's beyond some little small human brain's imagination. You need God to be able to create all these situations. But she said no, but the rest were totally fascinated. And the best part of it is that at the end of every chapter that I read, or I related later on, there was a blessing. Anyone who listens to this with attention, with devotion, with care, will be promoted to the spiritual world, will be given all blessings, will become a sage, or whatever it was that happened. So I was just happy that, regardless of what they thought about it, which is irrelevant at that point, they all got the blessings of the Supreme Lord. So that's what we are getting here. That's what we read the genealogical table of the daughters of Manu. Who cares? No, we do care, because you get a lot of blessings out of this, and because this is our family. You may not recognize them now in your bewildered state as I am the body, but once you realize that you are the soul, you're related to all these people. You're related to everybody. That is the purpose of preaching. You're actually reviving your relationship with all the other souls which are actually devotees of Krishna. Everyone. Why would you bother telling someone about Krishna unless they are servants of Krishna? So this is the purpose of Krishna consciousness. This is the purpose of your life and mine. To tell other people, wake up, wake up. This is not your real life. You are a servant of Krishna, and so am I. And we are related. So we have to help each other to get back. All right, we'll stop right here. Any questions or comments? Samipras, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. I really liked your recounting your sharing the pastimes of the avatars of Krishna in a college class and the way that people became absorbed. And I was reminded of this verse, which has a very short purport, and with your permission, I'd like to read it because it's about that very topic. This is from the Bhagavatam 12:13-2, translation. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is the last chapter of the Bhagavatam. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as Lord Kurma, a tortoise, his back was scratched by the sharp-edged stones lying on massive, whirling Mount Mandara, and this scratching made the Lord sleepy. May you all be protected by the winds caused by the Lord's breathing in this sleepy condition. Ever since that time, even up to the present day, the ocean tides have imitated the Lord's inhalation and exhalation by piously coming in and going out. Purport. At times we alleviate an itching sensation by blowing upon it. Similar as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can alleviate the itching sensation within the minds of mental speculators, as well as the itching of the material senses of conditioned souls engaged in sense gratification. Thus, by meditating on the windy breath of Lord Kurma, the tortoise incarnation, all categories of conditioned souls can be relieved of the deficiencies of material existence and come to the liberated spiritual platform. One must simply allow the pastimes of Lord Kurma to blow within one's heart like a favorable breeze. Then one will surely find spiritual peace. And your pastime, the college is proof of that. They tasted something they were never getting in any other class or anywhere else in their life. They were getting the pastimes of the Lord, and it was remarkably, it was palpable, the difference. So, thank you.
Thanks, Prabhu. I remember.
If you're going to ask me something that you know the answer to, I would like you to answer it as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I was just thinking about how when devotees go to the different programs, universities, etc., that they speak like you did, and many times thereafter, down the road, someone will meet one of those students who became a devotee or, practitioner or just some wonderful thing. So I don't know the answer to this. Maybe, maybe you have some pastimes of individuals that, some pretty amazing things happen to them as a result of, your or other devotees, speaking and sharing Krishna consciousness.
On your order, I will. But this is definitely a topic for you to approach because you've been touching people's hearts, since the moment you joined, and you inspire many others, including myself. Once I was, Tallahassee, since we were there. I would set up a book table on campus at the university, and I will make some sweets. And I noticed that in America, if you don't pay for things, people think they're garbage. So what's wrong with it? If it doesn't cost anything. So I will put a tray of Scottish shortbread cut in little squares, very tasty, buttery, floury and sugary, and people wouldn't touch it. So I just put a sign, 25 cents per piece. And I had no problem. And within minutes, the whole thing was gone. One day, I decided to make, I had some mango, and I think I had sucanat or some kind of muscovado, or some kind of really raw sugar, really unprocessed. And I decided to make like a mango pie, also on a tray. But I didn't have enough agar-agar or cornstarch or arrowroot, something to agglutinate it and make it thick. So, and I don't know if you know the properties of mango, but when you bake or you cook mango oxidizes, so it turns much darker. And with the addition of unprocessed sugar, that became even darker. So it was a pie that had a very ominous color, and it was kind of runny. Like you move the tray and the whole thing kind of moved along. So it didn't look very appetizing at all. And I couldn't give it away. I couldn't convince anybody to eat that. Matter of fact, one guy came by and just looked at it and said, "What is that? Diaper explosion? What did you make there?" So eventually one guy said, "Can I buy some of this?" I said, "Yeah." So he bought one piece and said, "This is the best thing I've ever had. Can I buy the whole tray?" So he actually ate the whole tray right in front of me. It was kind of a large cookie tray. And he said, "What are you guys about?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm actually late. I have an appointment, and so I have to go, so I can't really talk. But here is my address, and I live only 3 blocks from here, and we have a center there. So why don't you come tomorrow? I'll be free tomorrow." He said, "Okay." The guy came the next day, and I was on my way out to distribute books. So I had a book bag full, and I said, "This is also bad timing because I'm going out to sell some books." He said, "Can I go with you?" I said, yeah, you can come with me. So he came with me, and we work a light. There were two lights. And so he said, can I sell some books too? Sure. So I gave him books, and he sold every book I gave him, I was selling books, he was selling books. He had no clue. Zero. He had no idea of what the books were about, what the philosophy was, who I was. He had no idea. He had just had some running mango pie, and that began his spiritual life somehow or other. And he sold all the books, and he was totally ecstatic. He actually became a bhakta from doing that. That's a miracle. That's a miracle. That eventually his parents, they were devout Catholics from New York, from Syracuse, I think. It convinced him, if you want to be a religious, why don't you become a priest? Why don't you do it in our tradition? So in order to please the parents, I think he gave it a shot. I don't know. I think this guy is still around somewhere. I haven't seen him in 35 years. I don't know about his life right now. And another incident I'm reminded of. You never know what's going to happen with the majority of people that you talk to about Krishna consciousness. You never see them again. Rarely, if at all. So there was, I was giving a Sunday lecture in Berlin, Germany. So I led a kirtan, and then the lecture was going to begin, and there was a lady, she must have been 75 years old, and she came right before I started and whispered in my ear, "You made me a devotee." I said, "I'm sorry, I don't know you." She said, "No, you actually sold me a book in Santiago, Chile, 35 years ago. I've been initiated for 34 years. So I was you." Wow. That was Prabhupada. I said, that was the book. I was just holding it. I was the piece of furniture. So, you may give me credit, but I'm just furniture, for Prabhupada. And then in the same trip, we flew to Rome, which is an interesting story. We were doing so many countries and so many cities, so many programs, that we lost track of time and place. When we landed in Rome, we didn't have the ticket stubs for some reason, so we went to collect our luggage, and we didn't know to what carousel to go because we couldn't remember where we just flew in from, what country. We were like completely past, tired, exhausted, and countryed out. So I had to calculate, okay, it was the morning, and we were flying south because the sun was on this side of the plane, and we flew for about an hour and a half. That means that we could have flown from Poland, Switzerland, Austria, Germany. So let's see the signs, and there was a flight that came in from Frankfurt, at just about the same time. So we checked that carousel and we found our luggage. But at that point we decided we are not doing this, 35 cities, 10 countries in 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, not anymore. So we just paced ourselves a little more. And then from Rome, we flew to Boston. It was the year that 50th anniversary from Prabhupada's arriving the Jaladuta to the Boston Harbor. So there was a festival in a park, and a lady wearing a sari came and said, "What's your name?" Sarvatma. "Yeah, it was you," with a thick New England accent. "It was you. You made me a devotee." I said, I don't think so. Maybe you got me confused. She said, "No, I remember your voice, and you signed the book. It was a Bhagavatam 2.1. You signed it inside with your name. So it was you." So I've been initiated for 25 years. Just as the same trip. Thank you. I mean, this is very unusual for, at least for me, because, I distributed books for years and years, and I never heard back from practically anyone. All of a sudden, there was someone. So, I guess this is, are you satisfied? Is that what you wanted? Yeah? Yeah. So there is sometimes, you're not supposed to enjoy the result, it's all that, philosophically, so Krishna enjoys and all that stuff. But Krishna's not selfish, so he shares a little bit of the enjoyment with the devotees too. So don't be despondent or depressed, thinking, oh, what's my little thing gonna do? Because you don't know. You're creating a network, and even though you may not be able to see it, it is happening. You are touching people's hearts. You're touching people's minds. You're actually affecting people's way of thinking. And one day, they will collect their Sukriti check. Yeah. One day, the Sukriti check you will be able to take it to the bank and cash it. As Prabhupada was saying previously, that this is in the third canto. This is not a sudden thing. Krishna consciousness is, it starts somewhere, and now you're way far ahead of where you were in your last life. But you picked it up because you had it before. You can see some people don't have enough Sukriti. We had a lady in the last place that we lived that she's been coming for decades, at least 20 years, and she continues to be philosophically waterproof. She cannot understand the philosophy. She appreciates it, but she can't understand it. She asks always the same questions and just doesn't get it. Like Sukriti is working, but it's, she will catch up and hopefully in this life, but I doubt it. Maybe in the next life. So we all started with the dunce hat, but now we're removing it, getting the ears trimmed and starting to understand. This is it. This is our life. This is, Krishna. We are his, Radha Govinda. They own us. They have given us everything. So now it's time to reciprocate. Simple. Yeah. Anything else? No? Okay, 9:08. Time to have the remnants of Radha Govinda. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.